everyone. It's Katie McKelvin, the Director of Louisiana Fosters. I am here with Kim Bigler. She is the founder of James Samaritan. It's nice to have you.
Thank you for having me.
We're excited.
I'm excited.
So we want to hear your story. What's your story and what made you get involved in foster care?
So about 10 years ago, I got a mass email from a really well-to-do church in the area. And they were describing this need that a young lady had just aged out of the foster care system. Apparently she had turned a certain age, 18, and they no longer were overseeing their case plan. She somehow secured an apartment, but it was December and it was Christmas time, and on that day it was like it was freezing and she had no central air and heat. So she was reaching out to them for not only just furniture, but she's like, if you can't get anything else, can you get me a heater because I'm freezing? And so this email went out to a lot of people in the area, and I just happened to see it, and I literally was like, why does this young lady, who apparently had spent a lifetime in the foster care system, been brought in at age 3, been in 22 different placements.
Wow.
So she was not only in foster homes, she was in other kind of group home and therapy homes, and at age 18 she had not been adopted already, and so she just had somehow secured this apartment, and she was freezing. And the ironic part of this is that I had just bought a heater for my dog for the garage that day. And I couldn't wrap my head around the fact that I was treating my dog better than how the community was treating this young lady. And I was sitting here going, okay, we have a church on every corner, because where I lived at the time, there was a church on every corner, maybe even 3. And I said, what is the church doing that she even has to approach them for her needs? And then I started thinking, and I'm like, at this time, like stomping around my living room, and I'm going, what is the community doing that she's 18 years old and she doesn't have secure connections, she doesn't have a family? What was what was everybody doing? Where's her family? Where's her village? Where's the heater already? And so I was stomping around my living room like, what is everybody doing? And literally a still small voice said inside, Kim, what are you doing? You get the heater. Oh, there's a good practical solution. You be the answer. Wow, that was an epiphany. And so not only did I get a heater, just understanding her backgrounds when I did connect the heater to her, understanding her realities, because I had no clue. I had no clue the realities of kids in foster care. I had no clue they needed heaters or even apartments upon leaving. I didn't know they didn't have connections. It was just, I mean, call me, in the bubble, but I was. And so the more I learned about her realities, the more it like lit a fire inside of me.
Right.
So I don't let grass grow under my feet when I realize there's a need, and that it could be as simple as coming around her, someone or a youth, and being their connection or being their source provider. So I said, how many more youth can, if I'm a loudmouth, right? So I said, I'm a loudmouth, if I can mobilize the community, I wonder how useful I can be to the whole Department of Child and Family Services, who know what these needs are better than I do.
Right.
And so that's when I walked into the Department of Child and Family Services. How can I partner with you? How can I help you get physical resources? If not, help better recruit more foster families or mobilize the church on their behalf. And they told me it was usually beds, beds that they had a lot of kids coming in, and to secure a home placement, they have to pass a home inspection. A lot of times that means a bed, but these caregivers or family members or even foster parents don't have the $150 or $350 to go out and get a bed that will pass this home inspection. So we did that. So we said, anybody who's willing to open up their hearts and home for children, but they don't have the money, or they're afraid to because they don't have the money to take in this child,
Right.
will provide what all those gaps of resources are. And so that's what we've been doing. And we've had a great partnership with the DCFS because of it.
Nice. So what do you say to faith-based communities looking to get involved in the foster care system? and individuals?
So just like me, I had no clue. So I have realized doing this for 10 years that if someone knows the need, they'll get it. They'll help you get it. If they don't even have the resources for it, or the money to go pick up a heater, or money to even donate toward a bed, they can go pick up school supplies. They can hold a school supply drive in their neighborhood. The Teachers Association, Bible's women's group, whatever it is, you can ask 3 or 4 people, and trust me, within 3 or 4 people, that need will get met. So I just didn't simply know the need. So when I just saw $30 heater, how hard was that for me? I just bought one for my dog. What else can we do if we know the need?
Right.
And so that's how I created a Facebook page. So as soon as I knew that these needs were and requests were coming in, I started a Facebook page, and that's when I said, 8-month-old baby girl just came into the system and for the best placement needs a crib. Then I would reach out to a church and say, do you have a crib? We'll get you the crib. We just didn't know.
Right.
So I think for the first thing to mobilize the church community is to encourage them there are needs that we need you to meet.
Right.
From as small as a pack of diapers and wipes to secure for the first 2 weeks for a grandma, on a low income and underserved herself, to get those diapers, to know that she has 2 weeks supply of diapers to get a baby or a smaller grandchild out is huge for her. Yeah. And they feel now that they have the support system to care for a youth. So first, for the faith communities, we have needs, and we have them as small as wipes or diapers, right, or as big as being a family. Or in the middle, we have needs for you to provide that wraparound support, that human resource cheerleaders, so to speak, in your corner that churches are known for, churches are good for, to wrap around a family who's actually caring for youth in foster care.
Nice.
There's all levels of help.
Right.
And I know we keep hearing that, but I just want to reiterate, you all have a part to play from wipes to a family.
And that's the whole theme of these interviews, is to get people inspired where they are and do what they can in their community.
Yes, and everyone can.
Exactly.
So I even tell them, I go to sometimes these rural churches and they don't think that they even have the resources to do anything. I said, hold a diaper drive. Even if it's 3 packs of diapers, yep, even if you can get the resource for 3 packs of diapers, and then locate a family or locate a family member, which most of the time is already in their church, and they don't realize, oh, we need to supply more support here, because it's a hard thing to take in children when you were kind of out. You weren't ready for it.
Right.
And so just to even help supply new foster families that are coming and getting certified, they need that wraparound support from their church. So I tell them to hold a diaper drive, because that takes a lot of expenses off from the very beginning for a caregiver. Or then I tell them, or just have an awareness. I mean, that's huge. What they meet together already. So on a Sunday morning, will you bring in somebody that will tell you the need,
right,
specifically be there, and then work out what kind of resources does your church have? Okay, you don't have the money to go do that, but do you have a prayer group? Because we need a lot of prayer.
Right.
Or this family needs a lot of prayer. Or can y'all come together and get a $100 gift card for some groceries for a youth who's aging out of the foster care system? Can you come up with a gift card for some groceries? They're going into college, right, but they have a bare pantry. Can you provide for that? Or do you all have an old bike that's in your garage, right? Nobody thinks. See, you got to get them thinking what they already have.
Right.
And then we know how to best take those resources that they have and give those to that need those resources.
So good. So when did your organization start?
So we formed an organization about 8 years ago, I think in 2012. We became an official organization, and it's only because from our Facebook page became the advocacy. Like all of a sudden that Facebook page, even though I wasn't mentioning any names and I wasn't using any pictures, going with confidentiality and respecting that, I was painting a story that the church had no idea was happening. So when they're like, why does an 8-month-old baby need a crib? And I go, well, there's these home inspections. Well, why are then kids, you see, and then there was more questions about what else can we do, you know? And I said, well, they need uniforms, and they need school supplies, and they need things that we can do, or they need mentors, like these kids who are aging out of the foster care system. They have no secure adult attachment with anybody, and they're ending up in the silos of trafficking, incarceration, and homelessness. So that is because just like you and I need a village, they need a village. They've always needed a village, and they've been lacking not only their village, but they've been lacking a proper family. They're the most underserved. So those are the kind of things that we kind of rolled into about 8 years ago. And so because of that advocacy, people are like, we want to write checks, and we want tax receipts. And that was the only reason why we even turned into James Storehouse at the time. So we're James Samaritan now, because we went from a closet to a movement. And so that's why we had to change our name, because God was like, I need Good Samaritans on the field. And so it turned into James Samaritan. I don't need just a closet. I want the church to be closets. I don't want one closet. I don't want James Storehouse to be closet. I want the church to be closets, and I want to be able to find one anywhere in the state of Louisiana.
That's so good.
So we turned it from James Storehouse to James Samaritan, but we had to be an organization to be able to take the favor that was coming our way financially. And so that's how we kind of created this identity for ourselves.
It just started with see a need, meet a need, and this has evolved.
That was it. It was literally like, this is what this caseworker wrote me today. And a grandmother is getting 4 of her grandchildren out. She needs beds, she needs new bedding, she needs new school uniforms, school supplies, backpacks, and a gift card for extra mouths to feed would be great. And so I would just put that up, and literally within minutes, people would respond. And that's how it became James Storehouse, now James Samaritan.
Nice.
Yeah.
So tell me a little bit about what y'all do, the different aspects. I know I've heard there's cell phones, there's a family center, some open table stuff. So let's take the next few minutes to talk about the specifics of what you guys do, because I think it'll be really important for people who are going to watch our interview, for them to know the resources that are around. So let's start with what you guys are doing with cell phones.
Okay, so the cell phones came about because, again, initially we as caseworkers were emailing us needs that needed to be met. And these range from anywhere from dance lessons to help promote normalcy within the system, to again, grocery help for caregivers or kids who are about to age out. In doing that, we noticed that resources were super important. They were. I mean, if there was a gap in unmet needs, we were there. And that really helped not only improve the well-being of the child in some way, form, fashion, it kept caseworkers in the game. It supported them when they had to come up with all this stuff for these children and their families all on their own, and they had maybe 20 cases to be able to do that for. It really helps to support the caseworker, good caseworkers, to stay on the front line and not get burnt out. So I like that aspect of what we did with the resources. However, I realized that resources were super important, but giving out resources and not being able to extend the hand of relationship, that was where the critical element was. So it wasn't until we came here for a Louisiana Foster Summit, like the first one that the First Lady did. And I heard about Open Table. And Open Table was a program that was a relationship-based model program that was literally giving an opportunity for a youth who was aging out of the foster care system or transitioning out of the foster care system their own village of support for a year. So it was 6 or 7 volunteers that we would train from churches, who go to churches and say, hey, our youth need people to walk with them. Because if we don't, they're gonna fall in the gaps and never get out. And we're the answer, not government, I think that's where the church is. Sometimes we think, oh, DCFS is doing it. You know, family services are doing it, or CASA's doing it, or they're doing it. No, 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 no. We need to do it, because that's why there's a crisis now.
Right.
They can't be family. Only the church can and provide that. So we're the only ones that have that human resources where we can fill the gaps relationally,
right,
where they're missing. And so, heard about this open table model. It's 6 or 7 volunteers that are trained to walk with a heart, you know, a youth from a hard place,
right,
and trauma, who have gone through lots of trauma. And they walk through with this youth 1 hour, 1 week for 1 year. And it gives that child or that youth a consistency and a repetitive, you know, nature of connecting with a human being that's not their caseworker, which is super important, that their caseworker isn't the only connection that they have in this world.
Right.
It's important that the church step into that and be other connections for this child, or for this youth. And so we started out with resources, like you say, and again, that's any unmet need that the caseworkers come to us saying, we need these needs to better help care for this child or help improve their well-being.
Right.
That's where we are. Then with Open Table, we picked that up. We got funding from Blue Cross Blue Shield Foundation of Louisiana, and they helped us kick off get that program, get that licensing model, because it was a great model that was coming out from Arizona. And now we have 35 tables that are here.
Wow.
And that's only within a 2-year time. In Louisiana.
Nice.
Only in a 2-year time. Now, we thought we were just going to do it for the Florida Parish region,
right,
for what we call Covington region, the Florida parishes. But it quickly we need to do an open table. And so wherever there was this interest, you know, being God-led, whenever there was this interest, we said, look, we can establish a table where you live. So now we have one in Monroe, we have one in Shreveport, and I think the state set up one in Baton Rouge a long while ago. So we help even existing tables provide that wraparound support so they can continue growing and strengthening. And these open tables, which is important to know, is that the youth has control. You know, they're not being told what to do, just like their whole time in the system. Right. The dignity about it is, what is some of your goals? And if you need help finding what those goals are out, you know, finding out what that is, we will help you, but it's the youth establishing that lead, not the people. The people are not there to fix a problem or fix them as a problem. They are there to say, we're your collective cheerleaders in life.
I love that.
And it's 95% effective in transitioning them out, where they stay connected to, at least, even after that year, at least one of those adults are connected to them. So right now, some of the stories coming in from the tables have been, there was a young man that was on a table, and he quickly got established, and that was the one in Monroe. And they are family now. They take them to movies, they go to ball games, and they've really helped keep them out of the gaps, as well as this young lady in the Livingston area. They've kept them out of gaps where they would have normally fallen into, to fall into those silos that I was talking about earlier.
So let's talk a little bit about the future of your organization. Where do you see that?
So one of the things that I am constantly, almost obsessed with thinking about, was how to best connect churches to the need, regardless whatever it is. Like, I feel like there's a lot happening now, but I feel like the bridges need to get tighter. They need to get stronger. We need to better see how we can collectively come together and utilize our information to really wrap around these families anywhere in the state.
Right.
And I know that's the good thing about Louisiana Fosters, is that we've created these platforms for better communication, for a one-stop shop, but we need to build on that now. And so we came up with Community Connection, which is an online resource platform, because everybody at this point was calling in James Samaritan, we need a crib, by email, or calling in on phone and just leaving these messages. And I had like little pieces of paper all over my car and desk and everywhere, going, oh, I forgot that, you know, I forgot that camp cost. I didn't realize it blew on the floor. So I realized there needed to be a better system to catch these needs, and then to mobilize the community to better meet them. I felt with all the technology that we have these days at our fingertips, isn't there something that we could adopt and use that would help, you know, connect a church in Monroe to a child in need and their zip code?
Right.
And so that's where Community Connection was birthed. We picked it up, we've developed it, kind of curtailed it and made it our own, and it is a online resource platform where the caseworkers will, you know, key in their needs, and whatever have the churches sign up to be a part of meeting those needs on this platform. And so when this caseworker in their neck of the woods write in, 8-month-old baby girl needs a crib, it goes out to those participants who have signed up. We call them volunteers, who have signed up to meet that need.
Right.
And they can, and it shows them an alert that 8-month-old baby girl needs a crib, meet the need or decline the need. And once it's that first person says, I'll meet it, it goes out to the rest of them, the need has been met.
So good.
And then they connect with the caseworker. It's not just us. We felt like in order for this to be really systemic, because I want to change the culture in Louisiana. I want us to be a culture where you're not saying our Secretary of Department of Child and Family Services is going to do everything,
right,
or you're going to do everything, or CASA worker is going to do everything, or our legislature is going to do everything. I want people to say there's a culture with going, oh, I just got presented a need, like I did. Remember that day with the right, heater, right, and say you're up. Can you meet it right now? You're up, and you be the connecting point and build a bridge with that caseworker. And the people who have used it, and we started out in Livingston Parish because we wanted a petri dish to see if all the bells and whistles of the new technology worked. Right. And so we wanted to flesh that out in a smaller area. So we went to the, you know, where the most needs have been coming in from Livingston right, Parish. So we've keyed in all the caseworkers there. We've been keying in churches there, and needs have been getting met. And because of that system, where a caseworker then, you know, presented the need and a volunteer met the need, because of that, they have a friendship. Because of that, she's gotten other people to kind of adopt this caseworker. You see how that
right,
works? I could have never have done that. That happened in their area and their zip code.
So good.
And now that caseworker has their own, you know, village that then can recruit to be a village for her kids and families. I love that. That's the systemic nature, Katie, that we need to see in Louisiana.
That's
we need
so
to build a culture. We're just creating more nonprofits. We don't need more nonprofits. We need mobilized churches that have marching orders. Yeah. Whether we're helping them create that diaper drive, or we're helping them have know how to deliver meals to the caseworkers, new families that come in, or children that come in, or we have a birthday party brigade. All they do is go around, and when they hear that somebody needs a birthday party in our system, they're there to bring the brigade and the cake and everything else. Right. Everyone can do something. And then, of course, needing new families. That, you know, really what your push is that one church, one child, one family. We need that one family for that one child. Right. That's the ultimate resource and the ultimate relationship that all of this is actually about.
Right.
And the reason why I know that works is to hook them in with the diaper drive first is because of this. And I laugh, but it's so true, is that I got hooked with the heater, and I gave the heater, and it launched me into more awareness. It launched me into God growing my heart for the kids. It launched me into serving. It launched me into launching a nonprofit. And then 10 years later, then I felt the need to foster myself. So I became a foster mom. So after 8 to 10 years of serving diapers and wipes, I felt on my heart one day it was my turn, that I needed to step up in this area. Because I had seen parents come, I have served parents' diapers, and every part of that was just seeds dropping into me. Right. So one day I just felt like this is where I need to go now. Right. So I became a foster mom. I have fostered teen boys. I have fostered a teen girl. I have fostered brothers. I have been a foster to an infant, and I ended up being now her adoptive mom. So now I'm an adopt parent. So I understand those realities. So that's the beauty of when I want to tell the faith community. Just start with the diaper drive. Now, y'all going to end up being foster parents. Somebody going to, okay? Because if I am, anybody can, okay? Let's just get that straight. But it all started with diapers. It all started with the heater for me. It all started with a small step. So that's what I would love to charge the church with. Start small steps, and then see how God works more in your heart to do more. You know, I'd love to just say, we need foster families and gain 800 foster families, right? But sometimes it starts with, we need diapers. And then that diaper leads then to a relationship with the teen, which then leads into a relationship with the Department of Child and Family Services getting certified to be a foster parent. So I love the road to that. And I want to encourage that there is a road and there is a pathway, and for us to be connectors for the church to find their path.
It's all about growing that vision. You know, you got to give somebody an initial vision, and then you have to grow it from there. And I love that.
It's always growth. It's never the big thing first. It's always those small steps that then lead to a bigger picture.
Yeah.
But it has to be a culture change, a culture shift regarding how we see our kids, and especially waking up the church, because this is their mandate. This is presenting the gospel, or our message in word and deed, and we have to get more radical to do that. And so I'm grateful for this initiative, and I'm grateful for the First Lady making faith a part of this, because without the church community, the faith communities, it's not going to work. It's too much work on too few, and we're up, and we need to engage. And if I can be worked in to these steps, anybody can. They just have to say yes.
So good.
They just have to say yes, and they just have to know the need. So between you and I and others, let's figure out a way how we can build on our communication, our bridge building.
Yeah.
Because really, when they know the need, they will come to the table. They just need to know that need.
That's so good. So tell me a little bit about the James Samaritan Family Center.
Okay, so this was a beautiful thing that opened up to us, a beautiful opportunity. And it was because I actually went to a local church in the Covington area, and I needed bed money because we had, there was kind of apparently a drug bust that brought in some kids, ended up in the foster care system because of this bust. And I was a little bit hectic. So I went to this church, and not only was sharing the awareness that we need families and more mentors, but I said, you know, I've never had this many bed requests come in at one time, so I need bed money. And they were super moved, and so they definitely supported us in giving us that. But the pastor called me the next day, and he said, can you come and meet us in our office? And I thought I was in trouble, because I normally am. And so I was like, you know, it was like, you know, high school days all over again, giving me a flashback. And so I said, sure, we'll meet with you. And he had his whole leadership team come, and they said, you moved us so much. We had no idea that there was this many needs in the foster care community. We were trying to think of what other resources we had that we could provide you and help you with. We have an older sanctuary that we don't use much, except for a few things. Would you be interested in some space? Well, you don't tell a visionary that, you know, you've got space to use, and if I need it, of course I need it. I'll envision something there. So, and because I wanted to really serve the Department of Child and Family Services, the best way I knew how was to ask them how to better use this space, if they needed space. So I went and brought the leaders, some supervising leaders for the region, and we walked that space. It was 4,800 square foot space, and it hadn't been, you know, updated in a very, very, very long time. And I said, if you can envision anything here, and we could make it happen, what would you want to see here? And they go, we need more space for our parents to visit, you know, with our children, because biological parents get that mandatory visit per week. And so instead of government offices where, and I was a foster mom, so I know this to be true, is that when we would go, you know, if my child that I was, you know, a caregiver to, when I would go and they would just see the office sometimes, they would brace. So it would be trigger trauma, just the look of the office, you know, the government building.
Right.
And so they said, because of that, we've seen a lot of kids do that. Not only do they feel, or are they re-triggered and re-traumatized, the parents feel re-criminalized, because they just feel criminalized going into a government office. So to break that down, because that's, again, going back to the culture talk, DCFS has done a really good job in trying to create a new culture where we're not treating parents like they're, you know, that it's all a good village, we're all rehabbing, we're all it's restorative, right?
Right.
And to give hope, not only to the children, but hope to the biological families that we're there for you.
Right.
And so to do this, they wanted to get them out of the building where they both felt stigmatized of some sort and create a beautiful visitation center where they can have these visits with their children instead of the offices. We put the word out that we got this space, and I'm telling you, talk about the church community, faith community, and businesses, and just individuals and residents coming out, giving us money to restore the whole thing. Now it's a beautiful, beautiful building. You've been there.
Yeah.
It's got new paint, it's got new floors, and we are into the decorative healing arts. And so we had healing arts displayed all in there. And so it really looks like a healing, therapeutic, hopeful environment.
It's beautiful.
And no one feels like it's their space, the government space, our space. It's their space. And I love it that we have a full-blown, complete kitchen in there. And that's where I tell people where I've seen world peace happen. Because, I'll tell you why. We just stocked that thing with snacks and drinks and Betty Crocker cookies and cookie mix. So when they come in, they can either make cookies, or they can have cookies, or they can go in the fridge. The child knows as soon as they get there, that kitchen is theirs. They can get whatever they want out of it. The caseworker who's been on the road all day long, visiting homes and doing home visits, they know they can go in there and get refreshed and get snacks and be taken care of and cook some cookies, bake some cookies if they want. The families, the biological families, the single moms coming in there know that they can get refreshed with refreshments. They can go into that kitchen. They can wash their hands in the sink. They can go into our pantry and get out whatever you want to either make something or to have something. That has established a real culture of community. Again, that culture. Really establishing a community that we're all in this together. So one day I was walking through the center and I saw a caseworker in there getting something to eat, the child and his sibling getting in there, getting some Cokes, and then the biological parent and the foster parent was in there getting some. They were all talking, all preparing these little plates of food and snacks, and I said, that's world peace. In Louisiana, it's the kitchen. And so we have a kitchen in our center, and it's amazing. And I can't help but think how many churches in our state has the same space, underused, that we can turn into visitation centers that will not only help the children and the families bond better, right? The caseworker can get out of the hot box for a second.
Right.
And that we can serve them in those small ways, like snacks and smiles. That goes a long way. And let me tell you, we have a teen room. The teens love it in there. That's their room. We have a place where you can get Wi-Fi and get on computers. They love it in there. We have a library that we hold books for babies to age 18. They can go into the library. They know they can get whatever books they want, no matter how many they want, and keep them and start a library at home. We have a conference room where caseworkers can come and have their meetings and kind of get out into a better a neutral environment. We hold foster parent recruitment meetings at our center. We hold parenting classes at our center. We have suicide prevention people. You know, those side but huge issues come in, and other nonprofits collectively coming in and putting forth meetings and symposiums and lunches together there. So we're all better connected.
Wow.
Yeah, I really feel visitation centers can happen anywhere around here where there's an underutilized building. It's just it's the will to make it happen.
Yeah, that's amazing. Well, thank you so much. This was so great. I think, I mean, I know that what you're doing has so much value, and I know it as, you know, and I know the state feels it too, and I can see what you're doing is going to cover the whole state, and you're pushing and moving in that direction. And I know, I speak for myself and the First Lady, that we're just so grateful for what you're doing.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Anytime.
Thank you for involving me.